recognize that rejection can be a catalyst to being a rejecter.
No,
and
facts.
that's what you were
That's
just
facts.
saying.
That's
Yeah.
facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of the red pill community.
Well, no. It was the rejection you experienced.
Absolutely.
That made you be like, well, I'm rejecting other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rejection wasn't because of the lack of commitment.
Yeah.
Let's say that. The rejection for me was because I have been fearful of giving up all of Anthony O'Neill to be misused, to have my vulnerability exposed, and to trust her with all of me.
Well, because so in order to even experience rejection, right?
You
have to first have the hope that you were accepted.
Yes.
Like, think about it. You don't feel rejected by a job you didn't apply for.
Facts.
You don't feel rejected by a woman you're not interested in.
Facts.
You don't feel rejected because some random person's parents don't look at you as their son.
Facts.
You feel rejected because you applied. You feel rejected because you made an interest known, right?
Facts.
You feel rejected because your mother, your father walked away.
Facts.
And so when you experience rejection, it doesn't just injure your pride, it actually shatters hope, which ends up injuring your heart.
Yeah.
So what I believe is, because there's so many people walking around with the pain of rejection, we almost walk around in this like invisible wall where we're trying to protect a heart that has been cracked by rejection. We don't want it to continue to be injured, because what happens is cracks lead to shatters. And they're
Ooh, this is preaching. Hey, welcome guys to Little Black Button 91. It's your favorite dating and relationship coach. We're talking to you again and once more about attachment styles, dealing with dismissive avoidant attachment. If you don't know what that is, it's simply the way that we attach in relationships emotionally. How do we connect? And a lot of times we find that people connect in very insecure ways. Today we're talking about dismissive avoidants who tend to reject intimate or close emotional relationships and tend to push them away because they're afraid of being rejected. And so I found this lovely video by Nonna Jones and Anthony O'Neill talking about it, and she explained something which is really powerful about how in rejection, because we apply, that's when we feel a sense of rejection. You don't feel rejection when you don't actually care, which is really interesting, because I've experienced this myself. I don't care about a woman that I didn't approach, or I don't care about a woman who I wasn't interested in, her saying she doesn't want me, because I didn't care enough to put myself forward in that particular way. My heart wasn't on the line. But when I did care about that person and I put my heart on the line, then the rejection actually stung, and I was afraid of that rejection because, and this is the key thing, that rejection is confirming what you already believe about yourself. The rejection that you're afraid of is because you're afraid of it confirming what you already believe about yourself. Now, rejection in itself is a part and process of life, but many of us are very much afraid of that feeling because we've already been rejected somewhere else, and we're afraid that if we get rejected again, what it will actually mean about us. Let me give you an example. Jesus Christ came to his own, the Jews. They rejected him. Okay, all right, and then he died on the cross for everybody. Now, if that was me and you, would have sent those people packing, because you ain't gonna reject me and then have me, you know what I'm saying to you? But Jesus was so secure, okay, doesn't mean he wasn't afraid. When I say afraid, like in Gethsemane, when he said, pass the cup over me, but he was so secure in who he was and secure in his attachment style, if you want to call it that, that even in the face of rejection by his own, okay, he still had the ability to sacrifice and love the people that rejected him. And so where we want to get to is that I'm able to not personalize the rejection that I feel when you do it to me in the same way that God does. I want to be able to not personalize and then project what my own belief system is onto what your actions are doing. Let me give you an example. In the Bible, we have Numbers. I believe it's Numbers 11. Or number 13, I can't remember. And it is the spies that go out to spy in the land of Canaan before they reach there. And they say, 10 of the 12 say, we went there and we saw giants. But we look like ants in the giants' eyes. And the question to ask is, how do you know what the giants look at you as? How do you know? No, you know what you feel looking at them. They're giants. But how do you know how they look at you? Now, that is what we call a projection. You've projected what you believe about yourself onto them. And many of us do this, and this is why I'm saying rejection is our responsibility, not our fault, because someone is entitled to reject you, and that's on them. It's not your fault you got rejected, but it is your responsibility in a sense of not to self-abandon and not to reject yourself. and put yourself in places to be rejected when you shouldn't have been there in the first place. This is actually this is what I'm really talking about today in today's message, right? A lot of times when we're in places, especially relationships, we project our rejection that we feel about ourselves. We've rejected a part of ourselves, whether it's our emotions, our feelings, our ideas, our personality. We've rejected some part of ourselves, our body, our image. And what ends up happening is we then meet other people who do stuff. And when they do stuff, it confirms what we believe about ourselves. Now, if you believed you were amazing and they denied you, you'd have been like, well, I think I'm amazing still. And you'd have gone on about your life. But the reality is, when they did what they did by rejecting you, you was like, well, then maybe I'm worth rejecting. And guess what happens the next time? I'm not going to put myself out there again. It's one of the hardest things to stop doing. I can tell you that now. As a dismissive avoidant, you get very comfortable being in your isolation.
There are so many people who are bitter. You get in relationships with people who can't even relax in the relationship because of rejection they experience. Yeah. So that's why this message is important, because I believe rejection is the most common form of human trauma.
Okay. A
lot of people are hurting people. They're hurting each other because of unaddressed pain from rejection. But the contention I'm making is that if you understand how to see rejection the way God sees it, it actually is a gift.
No, I agree. How? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because so many of us have been rejected right now.
Yeah.
And we're living in that pain. And here's the truth. We're going to be rejected again.
Absolutely.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I've been rejected by brands I wanted to work with. I've been rejected by partners I wanted to partner with. Heck, I've been rejected by ladies that I wanted to date.
Oh, say it ain't so.
It's facts. You know what I'm saying?
She says, say it ain't so, Anthony. She be wilding. But yes, so a dismissive avoidant, oftentimes, I've said this in part 1 of my video, we tend to operate in a space, and I say we loosely because I'm transforming and becoming more secure. I'm learning that rejection is not it's not the end of be all and end all. I'm learning that rejection actually is a really great thing, because why would I want to be somebody who doesn't actually accept me for who I am? And the problem is that rejection tends to take place because you haven't accepted all of who you are. And because you haven't accepted all of who you are, it hurts when people reject you. See, when you accept who you are and you bask in who you are in totality, this is where an elite confidence comes from, where if somebody says no, you're not personalizing it. I remember watching Pop the Balloon. In fact, I had Jamaican, let me tell you this. I have some friends from Jamaica back in the day. And, one of the things that I love about them is their confidence, their self-confidence. Like, if a girl says no, they're like, right, next to the next one, bro. Right? No fear. And it's because they don't personalize a rejection. It's like, well, if you don't want me, it's because you don't know what you're missing on. Now, it might be a little bit of arrogance, but that confidence lets you know that when they get rejected, they don't personalize it and project that, oh, I feel this way about me, and you doing that confirms that you feel that way about me too. So you're right. So I'm right to feel that way about myself. I'm right to feel like I'm worthy of rejection. I'm right to feel like I'm not worthy of love. I'm right to feel like I should be on my own. I'm right to feel like I shouldn't attach myself to others. I can't trust them with my vulnerability. I can't be open and share myself, because when I do, I will be rejected. And so a lot of times what you'll realize is in your life, you may actually open yourself up to somebody and they may reject you, but then you go, okay, I'm never doing that again. Why? Because you're afraid that they're confirming what you believe about you already. Change that. Your belief about you, in fact, I don't like even saying belief, your faith about you, your confidence and your trust, where you place your confidence and trust about yourself, can't be in that place. Cannot be in a place of rejection. It must be in a place of acceptance of who you are. And when you accept who you are, rejection, like water for ducks.
Man, that's true.
Yeah.
I think at this age that I'm at now, I've learned how to deal with rejection and how it doesn't impact me as much. It still impacts.
Of course.
But it doesn't impact me as much, right?
Yeah.
No one gets rejected tomorrow. How do you process that rejection tomorrow?
Okay. In order to even answer that, I need to give you like a biblical framework.
Let's talk about it. Okay.
And so this is what opened my eyes to how God can actually make rejection work for our good and his glory. So you know the story of David and Goliath. Everybody knows the story.
I love so, and if you followed me long enough, you know I've been talking about David and Goliath for years. About the rejection by Jesse, the rejection by David as well. Listen, you've not been talking about for years. And I believe that David was a dismissive avoidant. Because if you look at the way he handled his daughter Tamar, and Amnon, when Amnon unfortunately graped his half sister, look at the way that David handled that grape. He didn't even do anything. He just became numb and just said to his daughter, go and sit in my house. No action. That inability to act was, I believe, his way of numbing himself from actually feeling the pain of seeing his daughter go through what she went through. Right? We saw how compassionate David was towards Saul, but not so much compassionate to his own daughter. And I think it's because he knew what he'd have to do. If he was compassionate to his daughter, he knew what he'd have to do. He would have to feel the pain of the fact that his son and his daughter, okay, that his son has done what he's done to his daughter, and he would have to act in a way that would end up being similar to what Absalom did, which is kill Amnon. But because he didn't want to feel that pain, he didn't want to process that, and it can be very difficult when you don't, when you're not sure necessarily how to proceed forward in a situation that you go back into survival mode, into just numbing yourself and not processing how you actually feel.
Story of David and Goliath, right? It's in 1 Samuel 17. There's this young shepherd boy, and there's this huge Philistine giant. And man, this shepherd boy defeats the giant. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
But very few people know the backstory.
Talk to us.
And how he became able to even do that. So 1 Samuel 16, there's a prophet named Samuel. And God tells him, I want you to go to this man named Jesse.
Yeah.
I've chosen one of his sons to be the next king after Saul.
Yeah.
So Samuel goes to Jesse, and he tells Jesse, hey, bring all of your sons. We're going to do a sacrifice.
Listen, it's a bit of a long passage, so if you want to watch that, I advise you to watch the whole video. I want to end on this note by saying, listen, if this is something you're going through, if you're struggling with your attachment style, if you feel like dismissive avoidance sounds like you, then listen, reach out to me. I've got a few spots left in my emergency coaching in a queue jump. Sign up, because this is what we go through with clients on a daily basis to heal. We do a lot of this work here. We want to see people being healed. So sign up for an emergency coaching. We'd love to see you guys as well. Make sure you like, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked on.